How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffled Rowlet, and we got some massive Pokemon news today, guys, and massive Nintendo news. Guess what? They've officially confirmed that the Switch 2 is in development. Yes, apparently we have a few different things to talk about today. We're going to start with the most obvious one, which is that, yes, we have a confirmation. Nintendo is working on a new console. They have said it themselves. I even retweeted it over here on a different post. You guys can see it from Central Leaks, who said, Nintendo Switch successor confirmed will be revealed before March 2025. General Nintendo Direct coming in June, which, yes, they confirmed a Nintendo Direct in June as well to announce new games for the Switch, to finish up the Switch, which means we probably, most definitely should see some Pokemon gameplay for Legends ZA during that Direct in June, unless we get something now in May. But at the earliest, we should see something in June, because this is the last big thing they're going to have for the Switch before next year, right? Like at the beginning of next year, right? Like until March, they have to announce this. Now, what are we talking about? Basically, here is the post, okay? Here's the post, and this is what is being said literally by the president of Nintendo. They tweeted this out saying, "This is Furukawa, president of Nintendo." I just dropped my headset and it's making a lot of noise because I'm freaking out. Okay, so this is Furukawa, president of Nintendo. We'll make an announcement about the successor to the Nintendo Switch within this fiscal year. Now, a fiscal year is basically like the tax year, right? It's not like a regular, it's not like next 3 months, 4 months, whatever. Basically, any time from now until March, right? Because the fiscal year in Japan, I think, begins in April and then ends in like March, right? Like that's usually how it works. But basically, here's what he says though. So, basically, the Switch will be revealed within this fiscal. I guess it will be revealed within this fiscal year. It will have been over 9 years. Yes, 9 years. Jeez, since we announced the existence of the Nintendo Switch back in March 2015. Now, we will be holding a Nintendo Direct this June. So he confirmed it. There's a Nintendo Direct in June. And now we know. I think this is good. I think it's good that they came out and said, hey, yo, we're going to be real. We got to be real, man. We're not going to give you the next Switch reveal now. You're going to have to wait a little bit, right? You're going to have to wait a little bit, which is fine, right? But basically, we'll be holding a Nintendo Direct this June regarding the Nintendo Switch software lineup for the later half of 2024, which is fine. That doesn't necessarily confirm that we're going to get Legends ZA, because he does say 2024. However, anything is possible, okay? They've done that before. They've said, oh, it's going to be stuff for the, next few months. And then they still show other stuff. So keep in mind, anything is possible. But he says, please be aware that there will be no mention of the Nintendo Switch successor during that presentation. So he's intentionally telling us, hey, yo, hamper your expectations. We know you're expecting to, see some shit then. You're not going to get it, okay? You gotta wait. And I'm going to say it like this. I think we're going to see this thing announced in September. Now, September would make the most sense to me, because if you think about it, right? It should be revealed within this fiscal year. I think September makes the most sense. It is usually when they always have a Nintendo Direct. September is usually the month they always do it, right? There's always a Nintendo Direct in September. That would also give them October, November, December, January, February, and March. 6 months. Exactly 6 months. I think that's what they had last time too, because I want to really look this up. I really want to make sure I double check, when they did this the last time. So if we look up Nintendo Switch announcement, right? When Nintendo Switch was announced, if we just go back to the original announcement of the Nintendo Switch, it was announced in a kind of a, I don't know how to say this, but it was kind of announced randomly a little bit. It was just kind of random. If we look here at the Nintendo Switch announcement on Wikipedia, so here's what it says, background. Basically, about 3 years prior to the Switch's announcement, they were working on it too, and then if we just scroll down to announcements, here we go. So, the first public news about the Switch hardware happened alongside the announcement of the Nintendo and Dana partnership on March 17th, 2015. At this stage, Nintendo referred to the console under the codename NX and described it as a brand new concept. At an investors meeting in April 2016, Nintendo announced that it planned to release the NX worldwide in March 2017. While Nintendo did not unveil the NX hardware at E3 2016 June, it did announce that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was originally announced as a Wii U exclusive. So basically, they kind of gave us the exact same thing. They give us a little bit now, a little bit later, and it kind of drags itself out. But again, we'll see how they actually do this, how they go through with this. I have no idea, okay? how this is going to turn out. But nonetheless, though, the fact that they at least confirm that there's a Nintendo Direct in June, which means we have a general Direct. Finally, man. It's like it took them like, what, like 9 months to do this? But finally, we have a Nintendo Direct. Finally, we have an actual Nintendo Direct that's happening in June. Hopefully, I really hope, we get some Legends ZA there. If not, I hope we get Legends ZA this month. But at the worst, we're going to have to wait until August, realistically. Like, if we're going to be real here, we're going to probably have to wait until August until we actually get news. Which, oh man, that really sucks, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm hoping at least, like, that this doesn't mean that this new console is gonna be coming out in, like, 2027. If they decide to, like, drag it out and be like, oh, we're just gonna give you an announcement on like, the hardware in this fiscal year, so by 2025 March, and then we're gonna give you a little bite-sized pieces until 2026. I really hope that's not the case. I really hope they release this console next year. It would be just nice to have a Nintendo console out in a kind of, you know, nice flat year, like 2025, and then we can count the years of the existence of the console for very many years to go forward. Point is, I really do hope we do get something cool during this Nintendo Direct, and I do hope that within the next, like, 7 months that we do actually get this new console announced and revealed properly. Now we know it's actually real. Like, now all the doubters on the rumors, you've been disproven, and we now know that essentially it is happening. And we've heard that they've upgraded their like some of the stuff on it. They've improved the like certain elements of it. I even think Centro has a post here saying next year's Switch 2 will be a big upgrade over the current Switch. So far, most Nintendo games haven't had the need to get expensive, high resolution or refresh rate TV or monitors. So we want to make a poll regarding this. So he's been asking people, do they have a 120 hertz monitor and stuff like that, which makes me wonder, like, yeah, how many people actually do care about that level of things? It is really interesting. Also, it makes sense now because this post came out and people were sending me this like, oh, yo, something's happening at Nintendo New York, right? Because that's usually when they do a bunch of big reveals on the big screen and stuff. And they were doing some renovations over there recently, which is a little bit sus. And it turns out it makes sense because there's a Nintendo Direct coming in June. We're going to get new games, baby. We're going to get new games, okay? We got new game announcements, which is why they were probably renovating and, you know, fixing it up. But this is not the biggest thing and the only thing to come. So this was a Nintendo investors meeting, right? That's what was happening. I think Stealth 40K is actually the legend for this because he basically tweeted all about this stuff. But we have some updates on Nintendo, Pokemon, etc. So first of all, Nintendo's quarterly financial update is tonight, and what we learned from that is that Switch officially has hit over 140 million sales. I think we actually have a post somewhere here that actually says the exact numbers. So Nintendo Switch has now sold 141.32 million units worldwide, which means that I think it has sold more than a Nintendo DS, unless I'm mistaken. I think it has actually sold more than a DS now, which is crazy. So it is still some way to go to beat Sony's ultra popular PlayStation 2, which sold 160 million units. I doubt it will ever surpass it. I doubt Nintendo will be able to like push out another 19 million units now, especially now that people will know that a new Switch, the next Switch is on the way. I doubt they're gonna be able to like pull that off. I'm gonna be real with you. I doubt they're gonna be able to pull it off. Again, I could be wrong, but I just doubt it. Next up, though, is the more important thing, which is that apparently, as of March 31st, 2024, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have sold 24.92 million copies, which means they've almost basically surpassed 25 million copies, which they haven't done yet, but they're almost there. And they probably will do it. They haven't really caught up to Sword and Shield yet. And here's what we basically have to compare. This is what the games were at their first 16 to 17 months since launch worldwide. So X and Y had 13.855 million sales. Sun and Moon had 16.1. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee had 11.97. Sword and Shield had 21.1. Scarlet and Violet is still ahead. It took Sword and Shield just over 2.5 years to hit this. So yes, it actually so far is outdoing, within the same time span, it's outdoing Sword and Shield, which is fair. I think Scarlet and Violet is a better game than Sword and Shield. I'm not just being real with you. I think it's a better game. It has its own issues. I'm not going to deny that. It has so many issues, but I prefer it over or Sword and Shield, to be honest with you. But it is an interesting thing nonetheless, just to know. Speaking of which, we do also know the sales numbers now, the total of Sword and Shield as well. So Sword and Shield, as of March 31st, 2024, have sold 26.27 million units, which means they're almost about to be outpaced by Scarlet and Violet, if Scarlet and Violet, of course, keeps selling that many units, which, if you think about it, if you really think about it, Are they going to be able to do it? Because, like, I don't know how many people keep buying this game day in, day out, right? Like, how many people still actively buy Scarlet and Violet? There's, of course, going to be new fans always coming in and people buying it and stuff like that. But realistically, how many people will actually pick it up? Like, I don't know. But nonetheless, though, there was actually also a Pokemon Home maintenance update. So yes, there was a home update that was happening. Specifically, it's going to be happening on Wednesday, May 8th, which is tomorrow. And it's going to be from 00 until 6 UTC. A new mobile update will also be releasing. And people are wondering, why is this? Why are they doing this? Unless there's something coming. And that's what people think right now, that maybe we're going to get some news now. Maybe we're going to get some changes, some updates. Something might be happening. At least that's what people think might be going on here. Again, no confirmations of that, no information truly about that, but at least that's like the theory right now, that we might be having some Pokemon news because of the home update coming out, which is a little bit random, but we'll see if anything does come from that. Next up also, as of right now, Nintendo only have 2 more dated Switch games left in their current 2024 publishing lineup. So basically, Nintendo's Quarter 3 and Quarter 4 2024 is complete mystery. Nintendo's financial update in 2 days will be interesting. So yes, the only things we really knew were Paper Mario and Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, right? Those are the only 2 games that they really have, and that's about it. So this Nintendo Direct in June has got to be hype. If they want to keep people buying Nintendo products for the rest of this year, they really need to like sell this shit to us. Like, they really got to give us something hype to get people excited. Otherwise, I don't really know if they're going to be able to like really keep people interested for long enough, or for the rest of the year until I guess the next console is announced. I don't know really if the interest is going to be there, but let's move on to the next thing. So, it's a big important one, guys. Scarlet and Violet's next 7-star Terra Raid event will feature Primarina. Yes, the Fairy Terra, Primarina with a Mightiest Mark will be available from May 9th, 5 p.m. PT until the 12th of May. And also, the 5-star Blissey raids will join Primarina when the event is rerun the following week from May 16th until May 19th. So yes, it's going to be a double week of Primarina raids, so get that if you want to. Again, keep in mind, these raids will probably, after a certain amount of time, whenever we get the new generation, this stuff will not be available anymore. They won't do any more of these raids, and when that happens, these Pokemon will be lost to time, and you will never be able to get your hands on them again. Just like Pokemon in the past. Now, especially when stuff is getting closed down, Nintendo Switch Online, 3DS Online, and the eShop and stuff like that can happen a lot. Also, we have a mystery gift. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have a mystery gift. Scarlet and Violet players can now claim a fully spec'd Flutter Mane via mystery gift. The code is 987W1THSPECS. 987 with specs is what you gotta type in. This is a 2023 Korean Trainer Cup champion Shin Yo-myung's Flutter Mane, fully EV trained, 0 attack IVs, and choice specs equipped. Deadline May 7th, 7:59 a.m. So basically, if you don't have your hands on it right now, you're not getting your hands on it. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Moving on though, we have a few other things to talk about, which is going to be also this little bit of a theory here coming to us from none else than Soul Silver, who's talking about possibly, what could they be basing the next legendary on and stuff like that. So basically, he says here that others have gone over this, but I wanted to lay the groundwork for my future post. As we know, the legendary Pokemon of X and Y are based on animals from the Norse mythos of the world tree, Yggdrasil, but they don't represent all the depicted animals on top of that. There's different variations of the tree with certain creatures added or missing. As you can see in the images below, it's hard to even say which animals a known legendary trio represents, especially Zygarde, since there's 2 birds, 4 deer, and 2 serpents, and the tree itself, Xernea's dormant form, is a tree. I'll be breaking down each and all the possibilities in the future post, and of course, there's also Ratatoskr, the squirrel. Here's where he gets back to it. So he says, finally, wanted to continue this series. Did you know that there are actually 2 birds on top of the Yggdrasil? So which one is Yveltal based off of? And is there a possibility that a new legendary Pokemon could be based off of the 2nd bird in Legends ZA? Now, there's not much known about this lore mythos, so the birds here are sometimes different types of birds: hawks, eagles, Odin's ravens, roosters, and falcons. Definitely read the pics for more information, which, yes, you guys can see there is, a different interpretation of these things, because, again, it is mythos, so it's going to be a little bit unclear. Now, he says here that the bigger the bird is usually always an eagle, and in some tellings could be considered the same eagle that is the origin of the wind. The smaller bird sitting between the eyes of the eagle is usually said to be the hawk, but it varies more than the eagle. It also has a name unlike the eagle. These 2 birds almost act as one and could be Yveltal based on both of them, right? Seems unlikely to me that Yveltal doesn't have anything in its design to suggest it's representing 2 birds in one. Yveltal has always said to be based on a vulture and death, while the Norse eagle is usually kind of a benevolent, righteous creature, so I'd imagine Yveltal is more based on the smaller bird. all of this to say, since the Aura Trio are based on animals around Yggdrasil, there's more room for a new Pokemon to be based on a second bird here. So yes, I don't know if we're going to get a second bird. I still think Ratatoskr is a cool idea to go with, because it is one that's there. But we'll see. We'll see if they do anything with that. Nonetheless, though, guys, I think that pretty much summarizes today's information. Guys, we got a Nintendo Direct confirmed. Yes, Nintendo Direct in June, and Switch 2 confirmed, boys. Switch 2 successor is confirmed, and that's pretty much that. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Bye-bye.